You've probably seen the billboards and the adverts. Currencies Direct, a very large company, a very important company, but behind a lot of companies are individual people, and this is one of them. His name is Peter Loveday. Superb name. I mean, very lucky to be born with a name like that. I mean, loving your name every day. Well, Peter, it's lovely to meet you.
And you too, yeah. My name caused a lot of problems when I was at school, of course, as they would, but I'm very proud that my wife and my son both have alliteration. So my wife is Lucia Loveday and my son is Luca Loveday. So
poetry in motion.
Just rolls off the tongue.
It really does.
Delighted to be here.
It's really nice because we hear these big company names and they become very anonymous, and to actually see that behind such an important world-renowned company is you. And I don't mean that as an offence, but it's lovely to actually meet a person who's very normal, down to earth, and quite approachable.
Yeah, thank you. I am who I am. We are just ordinary people at the end of the day. For me, the opportunity to come to Spain was a kind of once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. My wife and I had been looking at coming over to Spain for many years, and one of the things that I wanted to do was to make sure that we had something to do when we got here. The opportunity to join Currencies Direct came up, and we grabbed it with both hands. We both enjoyed every minute of it. We came over 14 years ago now, and started with just 2 branches in Spain. Now I'm proud to say that we've got 13 branches in Spain, soon to be 15. So we're growing by the minute, it seems, at the moment. And the one question that people often say is, what do you do?
I was just going to say, I mean, in Currencies Direct, one would understand it's something to do with money, but can one really build such an impressive business on buying and selling money? I mean, obviously you can.
We can. I mean, when we started, there was an enormous housing boom going on. I don't know if you remember, everybody and his wife were buying properties in Spain, and it was a time of unbelievable numbers of property purchases that were going on, and that was really the core of our business, was helping people that needed to move money. And one of the things that we discovered when we set up the company, we realised that an awful lot of people were losing a lot of money when they came to exchange pounds into pesetas, as it was then, and latterly pounds into euros, and they just accepted that this was the rate that they were
price
going
you have
to
to pay.
But then we started the business and enabled people to get better rates of exchange, and the market was very different then. We were what I call groundbreaking, so we were trying to introduce the whole concept of what we did to people, and there was a lot of resistance, a lot of sort of questioning faces, a lot of people looking very puzzled as to how we could help them get better rates. But the proof was in the pudding, and we have now built up. I think we've got nearly 200,000 clients that we've helped, and a lot of them in Spain over the years.
I have to analyse this a bit, digest, process. What background did you come from to think, I'm going to move to Spain and I'm going to help people transfer money by not paying bank interest, do it somehow in another way? I mean, how does Peter Loveday suddenly put himself in a position to say, I'm going to become a substitute for a bank and I'm going to handle people's money and I know what I'm doing?
So for me, I mean, the concept was already out there. One of the founders had originally come up with the idea of doing this, and had created the business. So I was really taking the business that had already been created and trying to.
But did you come from a stock exchange? I mean, what's your background to this?
So my background, I was in property development originally back in the UK, and yeah, maybe I got a little tired of dealing with awkward builders and all the rest of it that's associated with that. But what it did do was allow me to understand the market, and it allowed me to understand how estate agents worked. It allowed me to understand how to manage teams of people. And those skills are exactly what I had to bring in, and the company is the people that we have, really. So full
and those
credit
are the
to
clients,
team.
the people who are buying houses, cars. When you're moving that large amount of money to invest anywhere in the world, I suppose there's always this cost, this charge for transferring the funds.
Exactly, and we do. I mean, most of our business in Spain has been built around British expats who are buying or selling in Spain, and we have seen quite a lot of people go through a cycle of, you know, buying their dream home in Spain, and they live out here for a while, and then there's a time period when either the grandchildren want to move back, or you know, something else happens in their lives and they want to move back. So we do see that cycle, and fortunately we're there on both sides of that to be able to help them. The clients that we have helped, you know, the great thing is that most of them go on to recommend all of their friends, family, and all the rest of it. So
if you're not a bank, though, how do you guarantee their funds? I mean, do they have to transfer you the money, and then I suppose you already have purchased the equivalent in other currencies to then make the payments for them?
Yes, and the way that we are able to secure the rates is that we have massive buying power. So we buy billions of dollars or euros in currency each year, and that buying power enables us to get very good rates. So we pass on most of that rate to our customers. Of course, we keep a little bit for ourselves, which is how we pay for the offices and the staff and everything else that we do. But the functionality of how it actually works is that the customer would need to register with us, which we have to do to comply with all the money laundering regulations and all the rest of it that we have at the moment. Once they're registered, then they can give us a call, and they can either secure a rate if they want to. So we will go and buy on their say-so however much currency they want in whatever currency. So they know that that's what they're going to get. There's no chance of the rate changing, or, oh, well, we didn't
But if banks
know.
have already gone bankrupt, what's to stop? What's the assurance for somebody working, say, with Currencies Direct, that their funds will actually get to where they're going? I mean, I know you've been around now for quite a while, but I would think that in my case that would be a worry, that maybe it's not going to be there. You must have certain guarantees.
So we're covered. We're regulated by the FCA, and so they make sure that everything that we do is legitimate and above board. There's a ratings company called Dun & Bradstreet, who are one of the most respected rating agencies in the world. We have the highest credit rating.
So probably more reliable than a lot of banks nowadays.
Possibly, although the banks seem to have really sort of come and sharpened up their acts now. And we work with several banks in the UK. We have one main banking partner in Spain that we work with, La Caixa. And the reason that we work with La Caixa is the rating that they have. They're one of the most dependable and strongest banks in Spain, and they have thousands of branches, and that gives them good credibility, really. And they're one of the ones that are shoring up the smaller banks that are floundering or
Is this service just for major corporations or just for big investments, or would this be something that you could use if you're sending money over to grandchildren, or is it really only worth it if you're sending a certain amount? But those bank charges could be very expensive, especially those hidden charges. Some could cost you more to send the money than you're actually sending.
So the real benefits that we do are for larger amounts. So that can be, anywhere from kind of 5,000 to 5 million euros. But we do smaller payments as well. That's not where you make the most savings, because it's less significant on a smaller amount. However, with smaller amounts, you're right, you do get charged a fee for sending it, and of course we don't have any fees, so that if it's of consequence,
it could still be interesting.
It can still be interesting.
And then, for example, with our business, we import from the UK, and quite a few years ago, probably when the euro came in, we organised a fixed rate. And I kind of think I've been overpaying for many, many years based on not taking the risk of what the exchange rates will be and having that fixed rate with them. But in the sense of Currencies Direct, would that be beneficial for a company to look at doing things out from a bank and doing with Currencies Direct? Or
Exactly. We do have a range of products, and we do have all sorts of benefits. So, you know, the bank fees that you mentioned earlier is one of the things that we provide. You know, we can mitigate any of the bank fees that come in. We have agreements to give reduced costs for bankers' drafts and this sort of thing, which can sometimes amount to several thousands. With the forward buying, which is what you were talking about, where you fix a rate for a point in the future, that's part of what's called a hedging strategy for somebody. So this is where, when we see the amount of volatility in the rate that we've experienced, particularly over the last kind of 9 months since the referendum in the UK, that forward contract is a way of protecting you against those movements. Of course, you might get it completely wrong. And
as I'm saying, I didn't make the equivalent, so maybe if I'd have spoken to Currencies Direct, you might have said, yes, but better fix it at this rate. Peter, we're going to have to leave it there for now, but I think, although I've got a beginning of an idea what it's all about, we'll have to speak another time and tell us more, because you live it. For you it's normal, but I think a lot of us could actually benefit from services like this, but a lot of us don't dare admit that we really have no idea and don't dare ask the questions, so I'll ask them for us.
So that's where we have the offices. The staff there are more than happy to take anybody's calls. No question is too stupid to ask.
You're too kind.
And for us, it's really important that at least people know what we do before they go into a transaction without their eyes open.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to explain it to us. And lesson 1 with the course has begun. Thank you so much, Peter.
Thanks, Nicole. Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for another week. We really hope you enjoyed the show and meeting our guests. A big thank you to them for coming in, and also to Casa Club for inviting us back to host this program. Please be nice to each other, take care of yourselves, and join us again next week. Bye.
Twisting